every agency that we work with, every agency that I speak to, there's always ways to be more efficient and save time. And with a product like ours, so generally what we find, we save about 50% of the time that property managers deal with maintenance at a fraction of the cost from an ROI standpoint. So you're essentially adding the ability and features and workload of additional headcount without gaining that cost, while also just taking the stress off your team.
Welcome to the Property Management Podcast. Now, at the time of this recording, we are heading into the Easter long weekend, and I cannot believe that Q2 is here already. And for me personally, things have felt a little bit out of control, if I'm completely honest with you. My Q1 did not go according to plan. And if anyone out there listening feels like they are feeling a little bit derailed and a bit desperate to get back onto the right tracks, no, you are not alone, my friend. I started this year thinking my property management business was going to be sold. It was collateral damage as part of my divorce. But in the final hour, the sale fell over and I found myself in the position of having to reassess literally everything. All the planning I'd done for the year was completely thrown out the window, and I've had to start from scratch and work out what direction I'm going to head in now. The situation has been somewhat resolved, and I'm pretty much back in my business, and I am now the sole owner of half of the business that we started back in 2010, which, to be honest, I'm actually really excited about. I feel like the real estate industry is about to enter a whole new cycle, and I'm excited to see what happens and how I can pivot my business in new and exciting ways. This also means that I get to share with you the exact steps, frameworks, and tools that I use so you don't have to waste the time and energy you already have so little of to work it all out yourself. So stay tuned. There's plenty of new content coming your way this year. And the best way for you to access all of that content, though, and learn how to implement it step by step into your businesses is through my membership, PM Accelerate. Now, there is a link in the show notes, but inside this monthly membership, you'll get new trainings every single month, and you'll also get done-for-you processes, procedures, workflows, and social media content, including blogs and captions, all done for you. Now, there's a whole host of trainings on different growth strategies as well that you can actually implement immediately inside your own business. So if you're looking for an affordable way to get some additional training and support, then the PM Accelerate membership is definitely the place for you. And if you'd like a virtual tour just to see exactly what is inside before deciding whether or not to join, feel free to book in a call with me. I also want to mention that I'll be still growing That Property Mum, putting out the weekly podcast and working on our Done For You social media as well. I have thankfully built an amazing team around me, and we absolutely love what we do. And helping others is one of the reasons I get out of bed every day. The only thing that I'm struggling to finish at the moment is my fiction book. Draft 3 is almost there, but I'm not quite ready for the 4:30 a.m. starts during winter, but I'll keep you posted on my progress. Now, let's dive into today's episode. And my guest today is Taylor Coleman, and he is the co-founder and head of sales at Tappy. And what's that, you might be asking? Well, Tappy is a groundbreaking maintenance management software that guarantees to reduce your maintenance by up to 40%. Their software is designed to take your maintenance from stressful to seamless. All your repairs are easily reported, quoted, and actioned, all while keeping the lines of communication with your tenants, clients, and suppliers wide open. You get visibility across every stage of the job and easily find the ones that require the extra attention. It also uses AI for troubleshooting the annoying maintenance requests, and it is fully automated and has an amazing level of transparency so that everyone in the process is clear on where things are at. And the kicker, it also integrates with your property management software. I also love this solution that it stemmed from a real maintenance struggle. And if I really look into my business, I know that the majority of unhappy property owners and tenants become disgruntled largely because of maintenance issues or ongoing maintenance issues. So if you are looking for an easier way to handle maintenance in your business, then take a listen. Taylor, thank you so much for joining me on the Property Management Podcast. Now, before we dive in, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got started doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely, Kylie. And thank you so much for having me. And great to say hi to all the listeners out there of our New Zealand clients, the Australian, and any Americans that you've snuck in on this as well. I'm actually from Chicago in the States. The story of Toppy for us, we started the business 5 years ago in New Zealand. I'm actually in our Wellington office right now, but kind of how it all began. I actually was in uni. I graduated university. I just came out to New Zealand randomly and had never been in the property industry, but I met my business partner and my other co-founder, Tal, and then Florian. And it's an interesting story of where all this started from. So my business partner, he was living in a flat where he had a massive hole in his kitchen ceiling that it took 6 months for it to actually get fixed. And what was interesting about it when that happened, he was really confused about why did it take so long? What was the issue? The communication. And he wasn't with a property management company. He was with a private landlord, but we were working in this startup accelerator space together. And we thought, how can we fix this and make this communication faster so it's better for the tenants? And we looked at how can we sell something and figure something out for private landlords. As everybody knows in this room, selling to consumers, especially when you're young entrepreneurs, it's tough. But then we had some friends in the industry in property management where we spoke to them about, well, how are you guys dealing with this? And we found it was the same problem. Communication was too difficult, following up with trades. It's hard to get visibility of what's actually happening. How tenants are reporting maintenance is a struggle. And we went, we can build something and use the minds of the top people in the industry to make something better for New Zealand and carry that over into Australia. And have been going ever since. So we've been in New Zealand for 5 years. We've been in Australia for the last 3.5 years and just continuing in that trajectory.
I think you've actually created something that is solving a massive problem for the industry, which is obviously what lots of entrepreneurs do. They find problems and the solutions to those problems. And I love that it actually started with a real life problem, and then you've just grown it from organically from there. So let's dive into talking about exactly what Tappy does and how it actually makes property managers' jobs easier.
Yeah, absolutely, Kylie. And I think it was interesting on one of your podcasts, and I didn't know this about you until I heard it, that you went through a software change, brought in some different things, and you lost 4 property managers in a span of a day.
Yep.
And I think that's really interesting to note here because, as we all know, it's about 30% of property managers leave the industry, so almost 1 in 3. And for our industry and what we're doing, I always look at property management. It's such a rewarding career, but it's very tough. And I think maintenance is the big piece of that that's there. We do surveys with companies' landlords. And from the survey data, we showed that the number one reason why the landlords chose a property manager was because of maintenance. But that's really interesting because that's the number one reason why they're choosing a property manager. But it's also the most stressful piece of the process. For the companies that I go speak with and work with and everyone that we chat with in the industry, what we find is that people don't get enough credit from maintenance from their owners. They don't really understand the value of what it does, but also it's a major time suck for the agency. And it leads to that burnout for property managers, whether you're taking a phone call at 3 a.m. when you're trying to put your kids to bed, or you're just drowning under the communication from the tenants, from the owners, from the trades, because there's no good way to keep track of that. And where Toppy comes in the fold is we're really trying to make life easier and make it faster and simpler to coordinate maintenance and compliance and ensuring that you're taking care of those homes, but also providing ways to add more value for your clients. So you can truly take maintenance and get away from the negative conversations with it, because of technology and automation, where truly as a property manager, you can focus on being a consultant and a client relationship manager with your tenants and also your owners to truly take care of that property and be that amazing resource and service provider for them.
Okay, tell me, would you like to make maintenance your superpower? Well, you can. And you don't even need to tell anyone. It's all thanks to Tappy, a powerful property care software that takes all the pain, stress, and chaos out of dealing with maintenance and turns it into a predictable process that is reliable and frictionless, where every maintenance process is a smooth experience for everyone, with value adds that your owners and tenants will absolutely love. And it seamlessly integrates with your property management software too. And here's the bonus, it can actually help grow your business as well. And if you're rolling your eyes at me right now and thinking, yeah, right, I've heard all this before, then do yourself a favor and book in for a demo at tappy.com.au. Mention That Property Mum and receive 1 month free on Tappy. That's amazing. So let's dive into some of the nitty gritty then with the products that are actually inside Tappy, because there's a few different products in there, and they all come under the umbrella, or do you have to add on? You can kind of make it, I guess, pick and choose what products you like, or are these all the products under the Tappy umbrella?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kylie. With us, and you'll hear me say this a million times, I think if their customers listening, they're probably going to roll their eyes because I hear it so much. Tappy is about simple. We want to make it really easy, and that's with how we onboard. That's with how we sell. That's how the interaction we have with our clients and with their tradies, with their tenants, with their owners. So everything's included with Tappy. And from a feature standpoint, so the first key piece of it, we have a 24/7 AI-driven chat service. So as a tenant, I can walk into my home, I see something's happening, I can scan a QR code and brings up that 24/7 chat service that's going to talk to me like a property manager. It's going to troubleshoot everything up front for you. It's going to give the photos, get the videos, and really cut down the back and forth pointless communication. So the back and forth follow-ups, the troubleshooting. If I'm getting a phone call at 3 a.m. telling my tenant they just got to flip the fuse box, we're getting rid of all of that. So you can focus on those great conversations with your tenants and focus your time on creating that great client experience. So that's the first key piece. And all of that information then transitions into our maintenance tracker and compliance tracker. So the old world without Tappy, you're chasing trades, setting manual follow-ups, printing job reports, going through weekly team meetings to figure out where things are at, processing invoices manually. All of these different tasks that should be automated, right? So our tracker comes in, we have automated built-in follow-ups and reminders to ensure nothing's falling through the cracks with your trades. Being able to follow up with your owners, whether it's owner approvals, DIY jobs, seeing where those things are at. So improving those turnaround times, having clear metrics, whether you're a single property manager or an agency with 20 property managers, having clear visibility of performance with your team, and also automating invoice automation for our Victoria clients, having clear list of electro, gas, and safety checks, and then having that clear visibility from a performance standpoint. And then we talk about owner value adds. And this is where we really are looking to set ourselves apart and really help the industry. So a couple of things that we've launched in the last year, our asset register. So one of the biggest issues that we've found working with clients over the years, for example, sending jobs out under warranty with ovens and air conditioning units. There's no good way to track that. And every agency you speak to, you'll ask them, hey, is it possible that potentially you've sent something out that charged an owner that shouldn't have been? Everyone's going to tell you, yes, it's happened. So at Tappy, you always get flagged if something's under warranty. And the other key piece of that, we're actually tracking the depreciation value on those assets. So someone like yourself, Kylie, you can have a repair versus replacement conversation with like an oven in the home. It's 10 years old, it's had this many repairs. But with all the turnover in the industry and new people coming in, it's going to be hard for a 23-year-old property manager to say, hey, John, my owner, you should repair versus replace this. They're not going to know how to do that. So we're giving you that data and that value so you can be that consultant. And also pulling in almost every single make and model manual automatically into our system. They can see, as a property manager, I can see the guide, the troubleshooting, I can send it to my trade, and also my tenants can pop it up as well. And the last one I don't want to talk about, I don't word blab too much of everybody. We actually just launched the ability now where you can offer payment plans on any maintenance job at a very low interest rate. So as we know, we're not sure where the economy is going to go. Large jobs comes up, $12,000 job comes out of nowhere. Owner might not be able to afford it. Now with Tappy and your maintenance workflow, you can give the ability to your owner to pay that off in installments. So ensure that maintenance gets done, the tenants are happy, and your owners stay as your client.
That is going to be a godsend for Queensland with the new minimum housing standards legislation coming in on the 1st of September. A lot of property owners are going to be under the pump, bring their properties up to meet the legislation requirements. So I think that is going to be amazing product, especially for Queensland. And I'm pretty sure Victoria's got a similar legislation now as well. Yeah, that's something that's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. And that was a big thing that because Ashley Goodchild at SoCo Realty, they uses us and all of our clients in Perth, they have a serious problem as well getting owners to afford maintenance. So that was a massive feature for a lot of our clients over in WA and Perth. Because again, it's just giving you the ability, one, of your owners can't afford it, but two, from a sales side, as a BDM, I can go, hey, listen, I know you're in a great place now, but if things do get worse, as an agency, we partnered with the right technology and the right companies to ensure that we can take care of you if something happens. So we can be that partner for you so we can make sure that your property is still taken care of.
That's fantastic. And even the depreciation and all of that other stuff, I don't even know that stuff. I don't know the value of properties after appliances after a certain amount of time. So that is going to avoid a lot of stress, I think, for property managers. It's going to avoid a lot of time going backwards and forwards, researching, talking to different trades. And I also know when I had a demo with you a while back, it streamlines that quoting process as well inside Tappy, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great point. One of the biggest, I want to say limitations, but when you're just using something about a maintenance system, multiple quoting and going out to multiple trades is very hard. Keeping track of the communication, sending all of those out. With a platform like ours, you can send multiple quotes out to the trades in just a couple of clicks. Quotes that come to review, you can send one quote, two quotes, six quotes if you need to the owners, where they can easily approve it in an email communication that looks beautiful and is automated. And then if I do accept one of those quotes, it'll send automatic emails to the other trades, just thanking them, letting them know the work's no longer required. So again, like you said, streamline's the perfect word for that, and saving time and taking stress off the property managers, because we know how difficult the whole quoting process is. It's just another tool to make life easier so property managers can focus on delivering that amazing service to their clients.
Fantastic. Now, if there's any skeptics out there listening, because there has been a few maintenance programs over the years that we've been introduced to in the property management industry.
Yep.
Some have been successful, some have not been so successful. And I'm sure there's somebody out there listening thinking, how is this any different to my software, property management software, maintenance program that I'm using now that's already built in? I don't have to pay anything extra for it. What is some of your responses to somebody thinking that?
Yeah, absolutely, Kylie. That's a great question. And the way I kind of frame it to people, every agency that we work with, every agency that I speak to, there's always ways to be more efficient and save time. And with a product like ours, so generally what we find, we save about 50% of the time that property managers deal with maintenance at a fraction of the cost from an ROI standpoint. So you're essentially adding the ability and features and workload of additional headcount without gaining that cost, while also just taking the stress off your team. Again, we go back to, and everyone's going to keep talking about this, but it's so important. This industry has one of the biggest burnouts in the world. I mean, 1 out of 3 people are leaving us every year when you're with an agency. When you bring in a system like this, we're taking the stress off the property managers. We're making it easier and making it simple. And you just don't have that functionality in the current trust accounts. But the other key piece of it, and it's really interesting, I was doing a webinar with Darren Hunter on Win Your Worth, and we were talking about how you can leverage maintenance for that. And a big piece of this with fees and justifying the service that you're providing, like I talked about before, owners don't understand the value that these companies are providing for maintenance. They look at it as, oh, that's just a part of the service. Oh, something broke. You're telling me I got to pay all this money. I don't believe you. It's usually a negative conversation. When you use an application like ours with the depreciation value tracking, with the 24/7 chat bot that you can show your owners that technology, the payment plans, the ability to show them like, hey, we're doing our maintenance and turning it around in 3 days and 4 days, as opposed to other agencies without it, it's taking you 30 to 40 days and causing serious risk for the property. With a platform like that, you can leverage that for growth and retention with your clients and show them what you're doing to really separate yourself from being that potentially task manager when it comes to maintenance to someone that truly is a consultant that's showing you how you can take proper care of your property.
If you are anything like me, you think you know your rent roll numbers. Well, I thought I did until I had a rent roll health check, and I was quite literally shocked. The money I was leaving on the table was astounding, and this is not something that I'm proud to admit. There were missed management fees, let fees, advertising, and lease renewal fees not being charged, and properties even without bonds. And all of this was happening despite monthly audits being conducted in my business. So how did I uncover all these gaps in my valuable income? Well, I had a rent roll due diligence from my good friend Tazi, aka the Rent Roll Queen and founder of the Tazi Way, a specialist in rent roll due diligence, business valuation, and management rights. The Tazi Way is the innovative force driving the real estate industry. With 25 years of business and real estate acumen, they find gaps and risks in your agency to find undiscovered value. If you'd like to book your business in for a rent roll due diligence, head to the link in the show notes and mention That Property Mum for a 10% discount. There's been so much talk of stress, overwhelm, and burnout in property management lately. Do you want to know how I overcame all of that? Yes, I hit rock bottom multiple times, but I got myself a virtual assistant. Actually, not just one, but 3. But I didn't just get any VA, I got a PMVA. What are they? Well, they are the most well-trained in the business. And not only that, you also have a backup VA, so that essentially your business is never without admin support ever again. And my health, time, and business has never looked back. Your PMVA can take care of tasks like rent arrears, lease preparation and renewals, maintenance follow-up, routine inspection bookings, data entry, audits, prospecting, inbox management, and so much more. And the best part of implementing a PMVA in my business was that it freed up my time and my team's time to take care of important things like customer service. What makes me feel so safe is that PMVA is owned by Tiffany Botel, both here and in the Philippines, making my data secure and giving me more control over the VA arrangement. So head to the link in the show notes to book in your discovery call with Lady Boss Tiff. So it's a really good point of difference, I guess, is what in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. And it's probably something that BDMs can definitely leverage as a selling point as well. So I love that. I think there is so much value in that. Now, what does it cost? The $1 million question.
$1 million question. And so everybody knows she did not prepare me for that. So I love getting put on the spot, which is great. But with our system, so we from a sticker price, we're $1.20 per property per month. But that is tier based. So it just depends on the size of the agency. So that will go down depending on the size. So if people are curious, please reach out, go to www.toffee.com.au and book a demo and we can have a chat about it. Just wanted to plug that. But again, want to make it simple, want to make it easy for the agency. But what I talked about before, maybe gut reaction to people, that seems a little bit expensive. But when you look at the ROI and what you can do with your current staff in terms of alleviating stress and burnout, any of you looking to grow quickly, you don't need to add additional headcount because we're creating that foundation, that system with automation and technology.
Absolutely. I'm actually getting you out next week to come and demo to my team because for me, I've got to get my team invested in changes in the office. A lot of property managers, as we know, don't like changes. But if I find if I've got the team invested in the product or the change, then it makes that process a lot smoother. And I will include your links to all your contacts and details in the show notes as well. So I do encourage anybody listening that's struggling with maintenance, which I know you are struggling with maintenance, jump on and have a demo with Taylor. I think it's really going to make a difference to your business as well. Now let's dive into a complete 360 change of topic and talk about personal development. I'm a huge fan of personal development and I I'm sure you are too. Being an entrepreneur and founder of a business, you haven't got here by default mostly. I think, well, you may have, I could be wrong here. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that you like to learn and grow. So what are some of your tools that you can recommend?
Yeah, absolutely, Kylie. That's a great question. I think for me, it's really interesting. And this is why I love working in this industry, because being an entrepreneur in tech, the amount of time that you spend and the sleepless nights, really the only other industry that I think is similar to that right now is property management. I mean, I'll have conversations with my clients and I'm like, oh, frick, I'm up till 2 a.m. going through this. Like, so was I was taking tenant phone calls at 2 a.m. I'm trying to deal with my kids. So what I'm getting with that, you just don't have a lot of time in the day. So yes, I listen to podcasts, I listen to full books. But for me, because I am constantly learning, I'm having to learn so many skills to be able to operate in different parts of my business. I actually use an app called Headway. If anybody's heard of that, if you've heard of that, it's essentially condenses down books that could take you, if it takes you 3 days, 4 days to read, they condense it down with the highlights in a quick 10 to 15 minute read. So I read 50 career development, self-help, sales, etc. over the last year just because of that app, because you can just feed so many things through it. So that's one thing that I think, hey, if you feel like you don't have enough time to invest in longer podcasts and longer books, look at getting something like Headway. It's going to make your life easier. The other key piece of it, and again, this goes back to property management with your systems, you have to have a great task list. For me, I have my personal, sales CRM for keeping up with clients. We have different tools within the business. For my personal stuff, I use Todoist, and that's in professional life and personal life, because you can get bogged down pretty quickly professionally, but you can have your team set up systems. If you get disorganized in your personal life too, it's always going to carry over into the business. So really focus on staying organized, not just on the professional side, but also the personal side. And the other key piece of it, go out there and do something different. I was talking to you before we got on that I was out with an industry friend in Wellington, and we actually went salsa dancing last night. And I was just catching up for a drink with her, and she's like, do you want to go to a salsa dancing club? And I was like, I'm a bad dancer. I've never done salsa dancing, but I'm like, sure, let's get out and do that. But it's interesting when you put yourself out and get out of your comfort zone, that's where you really learn about yourself. And I think as people grow in their careers and personally, if you're not doing things like that, you're never going to get to your full potential as a person or as a professional. So that's a bit of a long-winded answer, but just get out of your comfort zone, go do something fun and find ways to find out more about yourself.
I love that. That is amazing advice. And definitely, I think when you're in property management or business owners, you get stuck in the rut of having to work. It's just, there's a song about that, work. But you know what I mean? You just have to keep, speaking of music, you just have to, you sometimes forget that you need to have a life and do something different. And I totally agree that you've got to get out and try different things and, make a list of things to get through. It's actually my 50th birthday this year. And I've got a list of 50 things that I'm going to get through this year that I've never done before. So, yeah. So I'm making a slow start actually, but we've still got a long way for the rest of the year to go. So Taylor, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Loved connecting with you. Love the product. And I look forward to continuing to work with you.
Beautiful. Hey, Kylie, thanks for having me on. And thanks everybody for listening. Again, please reach out if you want to have a deeper conversation or you just want to go out, have a yarn, have a chat. Thanks everybody for listening.
Property inspections, entries, exits, incomings, outgoings, routine inspections, whatever you call them, you have to do them. And I remember when I first started as a property manager, you had to handwrite the reports and take notes on a digital camera, then upload the photo memory card to your computer and hope and pray that they weren't all blurry or your computer had enough memory to store them. But gone are those days, thanks to Inspection Express. Now, Inspection Express is not only the #1 tool used by leading property managers across Australia and New Zealand, but the leader in groundbreaking new tech in the industry with the launch of 360-degree virtual tours. Now, virtual tours is upping the ante, giving landlords, owners, and directors unparalleled 360-degree virtual access to their properties. So head to the link in the show notes to book in your free demo with Inspection Express. If you love the Property Management Podcast, you've got to check out the PM Collective, hosted by my friend, Ashley Goodchild. She discusses things like how to have awkward conversations about pay rises, yes please, how to raise the bar in property management, and why so many people just seem to fall into the industry. You've got to love stories like that. She'll leave you with great advice, actionable steps to take, and let you know that you're not alone in any of the challenges that you face. So be sure to check out the PM Collective wherever you get your podcasts. Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.